screenplay statistics, it's 98 pages, 114 scenes. The runtime of the film is 1 hour and 49 minutes. That comes to 1 minute and 7 seconds per page and 1.2 scenes per page. Now we move to formatting, mechanics, and style, and this is where we study the actual document itself and how the screenwriters teach us to read their individual screenplays. This one has a lot of unique and interesting elements, a lot of similar things we saw in Nosferatu, though. The first is this really cool player's introduction. It's an insert here, page II, and look at this. I love this. I wish this were standard. I wish I had the courage to put it in my screenplays. It tells you straight up who the players are, the setting, gives you some notes about the screenplay, the film. This is a carryover from his days, obviously, in theater, because this is common when you see theater plays. But you see here, it introduces our players, says it's set far off the coast of Maine around 1890. The film will be photographed on black and white 35 millimeter negative, aspect ratio 1.19 to 1. That's almost square. And mono, the audio. Okay. Maybe could have left that one out, but he's being very, very specific. Another thing I want to show you is in that earlier drafts of the screenplay, not the final draft, but earlier, there was drawings in here of what the lighthouse would look like. There was no just creating it with words like here it is. Probably because we had to build this thing on this rock in the middle of nowhere. Can you imagine the carpenters? We're talking about the cast and crew and how miserable they were. What about before they got there, these carpenters? My goodness. The next thing to point out is the characters themselves, and they are named old and young throughout the entire screenplay, even though at times they do give their names, although the question is, are those their real names? So much of this screenplay is left up to the imagination for you as the reader and the viewer to figure out or decide. They use all caps a lot. And remember, he did the same thing in Nosferatu. Names are capitalized, all caps, not just the first time they show up, but every single time in the screenplay. Props are capitalized, not just significant props, but all props, and every time they show up in the screenplay. Character movements show up, all caps. Important moments, all caps. So when you do all that, you start to see that if you take the dialogue out and just look at the action lines, it's more all caps than not.